Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles the Band. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment. And we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a hell of a show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, we're trying to hit 200,000 subs by the end of this month. We would appreciate it if you guys help us hit our goal. Anyway, let me get into this topic. So I am coming off of the shock. The shock of seeing Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves go into Denver and win Game 7 on Denver's home court. And to see that team beat the Denver Nuggets 3 times at home. It's unheard of. 3 out of the 4 times they played in Denver, they beat them. Absolutely unheard of. Real shell shocker. And they did it in a spectacular, in spectacular fashion, right? But in the aftermath of that game, we knew that everyone and their grandmama was going to be talking about it today on these sports shows. And one of the shows that discussed it was Undisputed. And going into that Game 7, Paul Pierce, I believe, actually picked the Nuggets to win Game 7 at home. So as they were discussing this, you could just see how dejected and perplexed Paul Pierce was over the Minnesota Timberwolves essentially going into Denver and beating the defending champions on their home court and absolutely stunning the entire viewing public, including people like me who thought the Nuggets were actually going to win that game. So we want to get into his comments and what he had to say on Undisputed, because I thought they were pretty hilarious. But before I even get into what Paul Pierce had to say, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time, who's the official sponsor of today's show. Game Time Tickets is an authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets faster and easier than ever. For example, I am super excited about the games between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves this week. With Game Time Tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to the NBA. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, baseball, or concerts, or comedy or theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do now is we want to play exactly what Paul Pierce had to say on Undisputed to Keyshawn Johnson and Skip Bayless, and then we're going to come back and react to his analysis. Take a listen to what Paul Pierce had to say here.
Well, Skip and Kid, I'm in complete shock. I never thought that the Denver Nuggets, as good as a home team as they've been over the last few years, would lose 3 games. 3 games in one playoff series at home. Let's start right there.
Yep.
And then you have a Game 7 where you're up by at least 20 at some point in the game. Full control, crowd is into it. I'm like, oh, okay. Denver's just going to win in blowout fashion. Mm-hmm. They're up 15 at the half. And then after that, the offense disappeared. You know, and you say collapse by Denver, but a lot of this is what Minnesota did, being that they were or are the #1 defense in the NBA all year. They have the Defensive Player of the Year. So that played a factor when you see Denver Nuggets come out and score 14 points in the third quarter.
Yep.
As hot as Jamal was in the first half, that's how Cody was from 3. He shot 1 for 7.
Yep.
Now, the stars showed up to the party, but I say this all the time. You expect your stars to give you star performances, in which they did. You know, 35 and 34, I'll take that. But when you're role players, you need at least one X factor on the road when you're going deep in the playoffs. And they didn't get that. Look at this. Would you believe that no one outside of Joker, no, listen to this. Joker and Murray scored damn near all the points in the second half.
Did.
Let me tell you this. Look,
Yep.
Porter had 3 points in the second half.
He did.
And Bron had 2 points for the whole second half.
Yep.
You can't win that way.
That's it.
You can't win that
Yep.
way. And so yeah, it was a collapse, but I'm going to take my hat off to Minnesota. When Rudy Gobert hit that shot, I said, it's over. I ain't gonna lie to you.
By the way,
Rudy Gobert, they was up 2.
See that shot, please.
Look,
Rudy Gobert.
They was only up 2, and I'm talking about Denver playing as hard as they can play.
3 left.
They only up 2, and he does this at the end of the shot. I'm saying to myself,
fading away, ripping it cleanly, and that put them up 4. And I was with you. I said, okay, that's it. That's enough.
So you heard what your man Paul Pierce had to say. I was saying the same thing. He mentioned something about players. Guys, do you know that Nikola Jokic played 47 minutes in that game? He scored 34 points with a block. I think he had 2 or 3 turnovers. He had 7 assists and 19 rebounds. Jamal Murray had 35 points in that game. They were the only 2 Denver Nuggets to score above 10 points. The Denver Nuggets bench accounted for a grand total of 5 points. 5. Whereas the Minnesota Timberwolves, all 5 of their starters were in double figures. Karl Anthony Towns had 23. I believe McDaniels had 23 as well. Anthony Edwards has 16. All of those guys were in double figures. And Naz Reid came off the bench and gave him 11 points. So you had 6 Minnesota Timberwolves in double figures. Whereas you had the Denver Nuggets, who only had 2. And I think in that game, Denver's depth got exposed. Their depth. The fact of the matter is, the Wolves had better depth. That's number 1. Number 2, the Wolves played some tenacious defense. And I got to give some credit to their wing players. And McDaniels and Anthony Edwards and all of that. They got some crucial steals. Jamal Murray has some crucial turnovers. But so did Nikola Jokic from time to time. The Minnesota Timberwolves took that game. They took that game. I want to put it into context for you guys. In the first half, the Denver Nuggets had a 15-point lead. They were up 53-28. In the second half, they got outscored 60 to 30 something. I forgot what the number was. But they ended up losing by a pretty sizable deficit. And the real turnaround took place in that third quarter. The third quarter, they had nothing. I think the Wolves scored like 30 or 32 points to the Nuggets, like 14 or 18, whatever the hell it was. Mind you, they were up 15. So just imagine how abysmal of a quarter that they had. And then they went into the fourth quarter, and then I just believe they snatched their spirit. And the play that really just, was the final nail in the coffin was that offensive putback that Karl Anthony Towns had with like maybe a minute and a half to go. And you want to give him credit because he played well. Rudy Gobert played well. Naz Reid played well. McDaniels played well. It wasn't Anthony Edwards wasn't the star of the show. At least for this game, he wasn't. Maybe game 6 he was, but not this game, right? So you got to give him the credit, and I am absolutely shell-shocked. And I think a lot of people are because I don't think any of us could have foreseen the Denver Nuggets going into this series. They have home court and only win 1 out of the 4 home games that they played. Think about that. They lost the first 2 games at home, and they lost game 7 at home. A home court advantage, things that teams are fighting for. We got to get home court advantage. We got to get home court advantage. So when they get into scenarios like this, they have the home court. It did not matter. And I think that the Minnesota Timberwolves sent a message to the entire league that we're coming. Look how we are mauling. No pun intended. Look how we are mauling the NBA champions on the floor. I'm stunned. I mean, all the teams I was supporting are gone. So now I'm just sitting here watching like a spectator, like, well, who's going to win? Who is going to win? I said it yesterday on the live yesterday, and I'm going to reiterate it once more. The series that is coming up between the Dallas Mavericks and the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think, is about to be one of the most exciting series we have seen in years. In years. I think is going to be absolute fireworks. And I cannot wait to see how that series plays out. I just can't wait. I cannot wait to see how it goes. So these are my thoughts. What I want to know from you guys. What do you think about today's analysis? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We catch you guys on the next show. Peace.